Hey guys, so for today's class we'll be following up with another experiment. So for today, again, since it's an activity, you will have to use the same procedure that we've used so far. You're going to use the experiment format. Okay, I'll repeat it again for you. Aim, apparatus or equipment, procedure, observation, and the result or your conclusion. So for today we will be looking at how a certain type of salt will interact with an acid. Okay, the type of salt we are looking at today is called as carbonate salt. Okay, so if you've seen chemical equations, some of them have CO3 in them, right? For example, CaCO3 or Na2CO3. So those compounds are called carbonate. They're a form of powdery salt. We have one over here which is calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is the same thing that you find in chalk or marble. So you find calcium carbonate in a lot of places in nature. You could use even a chalk in this for this activity, but since we need pure calcium carbonate, I'll be using the direct chemical that we find. Okay, so the aim is to observe the reaction between a carbonate and an acid. Now any carbonate will do, not just calcium carbonate, even sodium carbonate is okay for this reaction completely, right? So these are my two reactants. For my equipment, other than the reactants, I will be needing a container like a conical flask, or I could use a test tube also, it doesn't really matter. I'll need there are two ways to test for this reaction. I'll tell them to you shortly. So one of them is through lime water. It's not the actual lemon and water, not like that. Lime water is a chemical called calcium hydroxide. It's a solution. That is one way to do this test. Another way is with a matchstick, not a pop sound test, a different test. We'll look at it shortly. I'll explain them in a bit. Okay. We'll begin with the procedure wherein I need to add both of my chemicals together. So I'll start off with the chemicals here. So first I'll be taking my calcium carbonate salt. If you can look inside it, it's a powdery salt, right? Just looks just like chalk powder. So I'll just take a clean spoon. I'll take maybe a spoonful or two, and I'll pour it inside of this. Right, now this is a very light, very fluffy salt, so even if when you use it, it's kind of like you're going through air, like cotton. So I'll take a bunch of it here. I'll take a little more. We have a lot, so that's fine. Okay, and that should be enough. So this is my calcium carbonate salt as a reactant. To my salt, like I said, I'll be adding an acid, and I'll be using the same hydrochloric acid that we've used so far in our reactions. Okay, so I'll slowly, carefully add the acid. Again, it's a strong acid, need to be super careful. I'll move the box, give me some space here. Okay. Now I will add this acid to this. Okay, you can already see the reaction starting, right? If you're able to see, there was like a lot of sizzling noise, and there was something that happened here, like there was a lot of bubbling, and it has fizzled out. I probably need to add a little more acid, right? So to understand what's happening here, I will again need to do a test to see what is exactly happening here, right? there is a certain kind of gas being produced. I just need to figure out which one. The bubbles usually indicate a gas, so I need to figure out which gas it is. So you see it has become like a pasty little liquid and most of the reaction is done. Let me just check once more. There, still reacting, right? I want to try to contain the gas here, which I'm not sure if I'll be able to do, but there is a gas being produced, that is quite evident, right? Now to see which gas this is, I said there are two ways to figure out, right? One is a flame test and the other is a test with lime water. I'm not sure if there is enough gas to test with lime water, but let's try. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to make sure that this lime water, this gas, that whatever is being produced, is able to pass into the lime water. Okay, there are other ways to do it, but this is one way to do it. So what happens is, if you noticed, the moment I try to pass the gas from here to here, it kind of became a little murky, you know. What we call this as lime water, we say it goes milky. Okay, so there's this kind of like wisps of white smoke that, you know, form inside of the liquid, and what happens is that liquid which was pretty much colorless starts to become white. Okay, so this is nothing but one way to test for a gas called carbon dioxide. Okay, so whenever calcium hydroxide is, you know, you pass carbon dioxide through it, it becomes milky, so it turns kind of white, and that tells us that it's definitely carbon dioxide gas that is being passed. Okay, another way to do it is with a flame test. So carbon dioxide, as we know, does not support burning. So if I try to put a matchstick inside of a container that is creating carbon dioxide, what happens is the match just goes off. Okay, that's not a fully definitive test, but it still works, right? So if I just put it in there, you'll see that it goes off pretty much instantly, right? We'll just do it again for visual sake, and I'll just let the gas collect for a bit, stir it up, and there's no reason for it to go off other than because of the gas inside of this, right? So this is the second way to identify when carbon dioxide is being created. It simply goes off without a sound. If you remember, hydrogen gives a pop sound, but carbon dioxide does not. It simply just turns off the flame. So this is our one way to identify that we have made carbon dioxide gas. So whenever a carbonate reacts with an acid, what happens is carbon dioxide gas will be formed along with water and a certain salt of some kind. Okay, so in this case what we have here is, since it's HCl and calcium carbonate, we have calcium chloride salt. Okay, so there is, in the products we will be writing calcium chloride, carbon dioxide and water. So these are 3 products out of 2 reactants, right? So this would be our observation finally. The gas that is being produced can be tested with lime water. When lime water turns milky, it means that it is carbon dioxide gas. And since it's if you use calcium chloride is still a liquid, right? So we're going to call this aqueous, AQ. Remember when we did equations we wrote AQ instead of L? This is what aqueous means. It's a solution of calcium chloride. Calcium chloride is normally a salt. So since it's mixed with water, we call it calcium chloride aqueous. So this is all for today. I hope you understood, and so for now this is all, and tomorrow I'll see you with a whole different topic and a whole different experiment to do. Thank you.